Okay, so imagine this, a programming language where you don't really write code. Instead, you just state what you want to happen. Sounds kind of sci-fi, right? Well, that's the big promise behind a new language called ARA, and it could totally change how we build software. So let's dive in and see what that's all about. If you've ever been deep in a big software project, you know exactly what this means. It's this organized chaos, right? You've got dozens, maybe even hundreds of different files all talking to each other. The logic is scattered everywhere, and yeah, it's powerful, for sure. But man, it can be an absolute nightmare to keep track of it all. So that brings us to our first section, the chaos of modern code. And really, this complexity, this chaos, is the exact problem that ARA is designed to fix. To really get why we even need a new language like this, we've got to look at the tangled mess that developers are dealing with, day in and day out. Okay, this slide just nails the whole headache, doesn't it? Look at the left side. That's today. That's the reality for most developers. You've got your React files for the UI over here, your Node.js backend over there, a MongoDB schema in another corner. The logic is just splintered all over the place. But then, look at the right. ARA's solution is, wow, it's a completely different way of thinking. It pulls everything, the purpose, the data, the front end, the back end, even security and AI agents, into one single declarative page. It's wild. All right, section 2, speaking your intent with ARA. So the big question is, how on earth does ARA actually pull this off? How does it unify everything? Well, the core idea here is a massive shift in how we talk to computers. We're moving away from writing out every single tiny instruction. With ARA, the whole point is to just state what you want. It's all about speaking your intent. So here's the official definition. At its core, ARA is declarative and intent-driven. Now, what does that actually mean? It means you're describing what you want the final result to be, not the step-by-step recipe of how to get there. The language is built from the ground up to bring the whole application together, with AI baked right in, and safety. Safety is there from the very start, not as an afterthought. I love this quote. The creators call it a vibe language, and it just clicks, It perfectly captures the whole idea. You're not micromanaging, you're just communicating the goal, the vibe of what you're trying to build. And then the AI does the heavy lifting, translating that vibe into actual working code. It's a totally different way to think about programming. Which brings us to section 3, the 12 behavioral pillars. Okay, so vibe language sounds cool, but how does it actually work? I mean, it can't just be a random, unstructured English, right? And you'd be correct. ARA is built on a really solid foundation of what are called the 12 behavioral pillars. Think of these pillars as the main keywords that give the whole language its structure. It's like the skeleton. Everything kicks off with intent. That's where you say, here's my main goal. Then you can use things like process to map out a workflow, protect to lock down security, and execute to make something happen. These are the fundamental building blocks you use to tell the AI what you're trying to achieve. And just to give you an idea of how deep this goes, those 12 main keywords, they explode out into a vocabulary of over 700. That's 705 plus verified sub-keywords. So this isn't just some simple prompt. It's a massive AI native vocabulary that gives you a really rich, structured way to explain super complex ideas to the compiler. We're way beyond a simple text box here. Okay, now for what might be the coolest part. Section 4, programming with AI agents. This is where things get really futuristic. We're talking about one of ARA's most powerful features, the built-in ability to create and manage autonomous AI agents. Think of them as little autonomous workers inside your app. And here's what that actually looks like. It's pretty readable, right? You literally declare an agent, give it a name, here it's donor matcher, and then you state its intent in plain English, match blood donors with urgent requests. Simple. Then you lay out its process, which is its whole plan, and what it should execute when it's done. Here, it sends notifications. So you're basically programming a little specialist robot to do one job really, really well. And that process block we just saw, it's not some magic black box. You get to define the exact workflow step by step. So for our donor matcher agent, it knows to get the donor list, get the request list, filter them, calculate scores. It follows your plan precisely. It's a pretty complex piece of logic, but look how it's described in super simple human-readable steps. All right, section 5, a new development workflow. So you can probably guess when you have a language that's this different, the whole way you build software. I mean, from the initial idea all the way to deployment, it gets completely transformed. So let's actually walk through what the development cycle looks like when you're using ARA. So this is it. This is the new workflow. Instead of getting bogged down writing tons and tons of files, you just start with one thing. You declare your intent in a single ARA file. That's your starting point. Then the compiler jumps in, checks your intent, makes sure it's safe, and once it gets the green light, boom, it generates all the production code for you. Python, TypeScript, you name it. It even spits out the configs for Docker and Kubernetes. After that, your job is to monitor, and if you need to change something, we just go back and update that one declaration. It's just an incredibly streamlined process. And listen, when I say it generates everything, I mean everything. From that one single ARA file, you get your front-end code, your back-end code, the database schema, API docs, Docker files, Kubernetes manifests, even the test suites. It's all generated for you. That's the holy grail, right? A single source of truth that builds out an entire production-ready app. Okay, final section, the future of programming. When you put all this together, the intent-driven approach, the AI agents, the unified architecture, it really feels like we're on the cusp of a huge paradigm shift, and it leads to a pretty big question. I mean, really, is this the future? Are we heading towards a world where the most valuable skill isn't being able to write thousands of lines of perfect code, but instead being able to clearly and powerfully state your intent to an AI that then does all the grunt work? It's a huge question, and it really makes you think about the future of creating things. And that brings us right back to that core idea, that vibe language concept. You speak your intent, AI translates it into code, and machines execute it. Look, whether ARI itself is the final answer or just one of the first big steps in this direction, the core concept here, it has the potential to completely redefine what it means to build things in our digital world.